So I guess I'm going to call this the Exhibition of Stupid People number 5 or 6, whichever one we're on now. I think it's 6. Because I have 4 separate stories, 3 of which are derived from politics, and 1 could argue to be semantics-based, but still, So I guess we should cover the first non-political story, and I'm going to say it now, this one's going to be tricky to try and talk about. There is a socialite in her 70s called Lady Colin Campbell. I never knew Colin could be a girl name, I really didn't. I have learnt something here. And she's made a claim on a TV show called Good Morning Britain that was formerly called GMTV, and they're rebranded because it was dying, because seriously, who watches that trash anyway? One of the presenters of this is Piers Morgan. We all know who he is. He's a massive douche. On the show, Lady Colin Campbell said there is a difference between a child and a minor, and the context was that she was almost appearing, and it's because of how it came across, to be defending hiring a minor for extracurricular activity that isn't playtime, insisting that it was a form of prostitution rather than a sex offence. The full context of the argument being around whether or not Mr. Epstein, or if we're going to pronounce it like Corbin Epstein, was soliciting a minor, and therefore it is paedophilia. I'm saying it like that because I'm going to try and see if I can get it monetized, or whether or not it was prostitution, because that word is totally safe. It's not. It should be noted that Lady Colin Campbell did outright say she was not defending what Epstein did. She was trying to make the distinction between a minor and a child. I think that was the wrong argument to take, and also the fact that it is regularly conflated that a sex offender is conflated with a paedophile. See what I did there? Trying to get cute with the word. I can't think of another way to say it. I think he was imprisoned for a crime. He did his time. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us, so he can't do the adequate time and other sentences for all the other crimes he is alleged to have done, which is a shame, really, isn't it? Not going to talk about that, though. Now, the reason I'm putting her on blast, Colin Campbell that is, and also Good Morning Britain, is because she was not adequately allowed to explain her position, because Susanna Reid and Piers Morgan kept interrupting her. Also the fact that the subject matter wasn't meant to be the semantics-based argument that it was, so I have to also include Piers Morgan for being a twat. So in actuality, they're all on blast because they're all idiots for not allowing each other to speak, but also because of what they chose to talk about, because they went completely off topic. Had Piers Morgan let Colin Campbell say what she meant, we could have watched, listened, and then mocked. But the constant need to interrupt and be offended meant that we were unable to get a full scope of what she meant because of the continued interruptions. While it is admirable that he is so passionate about it, it does not help us to better understand what she is trying to say and then summarily reject, debunk, or mock it. Perhaps all three. I know I said that politics wouldn't feature on this channel anymore, but there are 3 separate incidents that I think are worthy of our attention. Incidents that I believe merit our attention, because they involve individuals who have done and said rather silly things and then summarily been rejected, mocked, and abused for it. Now, I don't support abuse. Mocking, sure. Someone's going to undoubtedly claim it as abuse because they're a snowflake. And rejecting usually happens when there is proof otherwise, or to counter the original claim. So insert Labour's Dawn Porter. She is a current Labour MP serving as a Shadow Women and Equalities Secretary, and has been MP since 2015 for Brent Central. Before then, she was an MP for Brent South from 2005 to 2010. She lost her seat when her constituency was abolished. So, she was recently doing an interview with LBC. Now, I can't show or play any audio from this, because LBC are ridiculous when it comes to copyright. I don't like LBC. I don't like them because of that. No one else, by the way, will strike you as fast as they do. So let's put LBC on blast as well, shall we? During this interview, Nick Ferrari asked her a number of questions about rough sleeping. The reason for this was because of a claim she made, that during her time in 2007 as an MP in Brent, there were 3,000 rough sleepers in her constituency alone. That is a phenomenal amount of rough sleepers, which is quite a lot of people for a constituency that has a population, according to a 2011 census, of 137,438. That is a lot of those people sleeping rough, or perhaps adding to that to make it 140,438 as of 2011, so a little less if you go back to 2007. Well, Nick Ferrari decided to point out during this rather excruciating interview that she inflated her numbers because the total figure for England was just shy of 5,000 at 4,751, with her claiming that 3,000 of those rough sleepers for the entire of England were in her constituency. I should point out, if 3,000 rough sleepers are in Brent, how many do you actually think are in London? In her attempts at trying to get out of this, she tried to wriggle free by insisting that homelessness was not in her remit, which rightly got Nick Ferrari to point out, why on earth are you talking about it then? I would argue it's further proof that Labour don't know how to do numbers. Diane Abbott is another prime example of it, and we've mocked her many times on this channel and of course on the Moistski Live channel. I mentioned Diane Abbott because she was once doing an LBC interview in 2017 when she claimed the cost of 10,000 extra police officers would be £300,000, and then fumbling around even further to find the number of £80 million, with her totally unable to answer the question, but claiming that anticipation of recruiting police officers over a period of 4 years and average police wages. She made it up, okay? But yes, Dawn Porter doesn't do homelessness because she is the Equalities and Women Secretary, but decided to talk about something that she knew nothing about, while making a wildly exaggerated claim to make herself look good? How does a homelessness number of that big during a Labour government make you look good? So the next one I want to cover is a bit of an unusual one, because it involves somebody I actually quite like, but they've done something that I can actually truly understand being wrong. Over the years, there are many accusations levied at Jeremy Corbyn that he is racist. Now, you can debate that until you're blue in the face. Quite a number of the accusations are incorrect, and I'm sure although he's never used it, he could just shine Diane Abbott and go, but I hit that, yo. Still doesn't really debunk it. I'm very much aware. Just means she's a home wrecker. That aside, and it is relevant, I want to talk about Rachel Riley. Rachel Riley is a part of a TV show called Countdown. Sometimes 8 out of 10 cats does Countdown, which is very funny. It's a more comedy-based show, as opposed to Countdown, which is definitely one that keeps the old people and students sane. I used to play it with my housemates. It was good fun. Rachel Riley is a mathematician and very good at her job. She's recently taken a number of shots at Jeremy Corbyn for actions he has taken or lack of action when it comes to tackling certain problems within his party. Recently, she watched the debates, the ITV election debate between Jeremy Corbyn and Boris Johnson, where neither looked like a winner. Both looked like colossal asses. Well, she attended it and left with this t-shirt on. This t-shirt has sparked a considerable amount of outrage, and we'll get to why in a moment. I initially had thought, I've seen that photo somewhere before, this isn't going to end well for Rachel Riley. And at time of recording, it was third in UK trending. We're calling for her to be fired from Countdown for this. As far as I'm aware, she's going on maternity leave soon, so she might get a sweet severance. The reason why is because the photo has a really interesting origin. That's the origin. He's been anti-racist for decades, or claimed to be. I know the anti-Semitism stuff might be a bit on the nose, and he has failed to tackle it. Although I have argued many times, a number of the incidents, quite a lot in fact, can be debunked. It then comes down to a lot of incidents bundled together and optics just ruining him. Some are highly questionable, but this t-shirt is not just in poor taste, but it also loses a considerable amount of venom and merit because of the origins of the picture. Had you found a different picture of him, or just had somebody draw a cartoon of him with a placard, which I'm sure with your salary you could have afforded, you'd get less flack, because you've taken one where he is anti-apartheid and decided to Photoshop that, or get someone to do it for you, I'm not sure if you're that skilled or not, and then pay for that shirt to be made. Optics are important. In this case, it doesn't help you with your point because of where you've taken the photo from. Not so clever, Rachel Riley. Not so clever at all, really, is it? You cannot expect to defeat anyone on any level if you're willing to resort to bad tactics. The only bad tactic Corbyn has used so far in this election is using Trump as the boogeyman. That's it so far. You, railing against the party you were a supporter of, are railing against him with an anti-apartheid picture photoshopped calling him a racist. Well done, Rachel. The final story is not political in the slightest, so we're going to go back over there. Yeah, hi. The final one comes courtesy of Facebook. They're basically the final subject, who, courtesy of a bit of a stupid mistake on their part, were blocking accounts who are posting pictures of their mastectomies. These are people who have lost their breasts, essentially, and that typically includes nipples. So Vicky Martin decided to protest outside Facebook HQ in London with a giant inflatable tit, with a nipple on it, of course. Got to be realistic. Facebook have come out and said the suspensions of those accounts were a mistake. Press X to doubt, I guess? Anyway, with all these stories, I want to know which one you think the stupidest is. I know some are thought-provoking, some can be quite semantics-based. Please don't get stuck on that. You know what I meant, but I know some of you won't anyway because you're the obsessive type. I tried. Later on tonight, 9 PM GMT, possibly earlier, I'll be streaming Euro Truck Simulator 2 over on the Omegon Plays channel. Also, there's a new video on the Moistski Live channel. Hope to see you there, on the Omegon Plays channel that is. If I don't, have a nice day, and thank you all for listening.